Welcome to another episode of Constable Radio. Your host today is Baljit Singh, and our guest today is Mrs Sagarika Gupta, the better half of late Mr. D. Gupta of Foundry Department, Utmal and L&T. Elegant, gracious, soft-spoken and humble Mrs. Gupta has also been a teacher in Utmal English Primary School, Kansbahal. In addition to raising two lovely daughters, please welcome Mrs. Sagarika Gupta.
Welcome to Constable Radio, Mrs. Sagarika Gupta.
Hello, thank you, Baljit.
Before we begin our conversation today, I just want to say, when I joined Utmal English Primary School in the year 1982, I was fresh from college. I met you, Mrs. Anupama Shrivastava, Mrs. Ganga Vishwanathan, Mrs. Kujur, Mrs. Achama George, Mrs. Sandhu, and Mrs. Fernandez as the senior teachers. And along with the junior teachers like Chitra Rajan and Sabita Sinha, I also started addressing you as auntie. So, if you are comfortable today in this formal chat also, if I can address you as auntie today also, that would be very pleasing for me.
Absolutely, Baljit. I would much rather you call me auntie than the formal Mrs. Gupta. Please go ahead.
Thank you, auntie. So let's start from the very beginning, auntie. Tell us about your birthplace, your schooling, college, and getting married to Gupta sir.
Okay,
Yes.
I was born in Calcutta, but grew up in Delhi. My father was in the central government services, so he got shifted to Delhi when I was about 7 or 8. So I did my schooling in Convent of Jesus and Mary in Delhi, and then I graduated from Delhi University from Miranda House.
Great.
At that time, Delhi was a very calm, laid-back capital of freshly gained independent India. It was mainly a government sort of place with
Okay.
mostly government employees there. There weren't any private residential complexes or anything as Delhi is full of now.
Okay.
There were no malls and no gyms or multiplexes, but it was a very enjoyable, calm and quiet city. So we enjoyed our growing up in tension-free, no frustration, no stress while growing up. Yes. Then we come to what you're saying, my marriage to Gupta sir, as you call him.
Yes.
At that point of time, all the norm generally was of arranged marriage. So
Okay.
we also went along with the norm, and I had met my husband only once before we got married.
Oh, great.
Now the children will find it very strange that
Yes.
how you can marry a total stranger.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem to be at that point of time because everyone was going through the same experience. But then we were lucky that we got each other clicked and there were no problems. We had a very happy 53 years of married life. There were many ups and downs, but then we had a very good life going through all the places and which I remembered very fondly now. Yes, Baljit.
And now I know that we have a Delhi University student passed out from Miranda House, and you got married to Gupta sir when there was no datings and all these things.
No,
And,
no, no.
and 53 years of marriage life. I must congratulate you for
Yes.
that also. And now, what was the feeling when you came to Kansbal first, and then subsequently, as you explored Kansbal, what was your experience about Kansbal life? Yes, auntie.
Okay, okay. I'll tell you, before we went to Kansbahal, once my husband had made up his mind and accepted the offer from that time it was Utmal, not
Utmal.
L&T.
Yes, yes, Utmal.
Utmal, yes. For me, I had never heard of a place called Kansbahal, very frankly. I had lived only in Delhi and Calcutta, and I had never heard of a place called Kansbahal. But obviously he had, and he was sure about going. But then we heard of strange stories that Kansbahal is a place way at the back of beyond, and there are no birds there.
Okay.
And yes, and as you walk out on the roads, there's every chance that you might step on a scorpion or a snake. All these stories we heard. But then we were also young and full of adventurous spirit. None of us took it, neither of us took it seriously. And we went ahead. When finally we reached Rourkela station and were in the taxi going towards Kansbahal, we were a little apprehensive because the road leading from Rourkela to Kansbahal, if you remember, in the late 60s, it was a narrow ribbon of a straight road going ahead with no settlements, no people, no trees, anything around.
Absolutely.
Yes. So we were a little apprehensive where we were going. And then after about 15-20 minutes, we saw very far off a small samosa-like hill. And the driver told us that is Kansbahal. So we were a little apprehensive, reached there. But when we reached the hill, we found it was a longish hill, which of course later on became our very favorite Laimura. And Laimura Hill, yes. But when we entered the colony, we were so pleasantly surprised. It was such a picturesque colony with the lovely white painted houses, slightly undulating topography, wide roads, trees, and plenty of bird song all around.
Great.
And we were so happy that we had not taken those warnings seriously and had reached. And once we reached Kansbahal, the place was beautiful. The people were so friendly. We took no time in settling down, for me at least. And then my husband was very happy with the foundry, and I think Mr. Ramaswamy was in charge of foundry at that time. And very soon he had built up a very good rapport among his seniors, his juniors, his colleagues. And he was extremely happy. So was I. I got a lot of good friends and a beautiful setting. And I forgot all my city life and enjoyed the surroundings very much. Then what happened after 4 years, we sort of shifted out from Kansbahal. 4 years we went to Madras, Calcutta, and finally again came back to Kansbahal. So with that, this was the second stint that we came back in Kansbahal. By then Montfort School had come up. Our main idea was that there was no high school in Kansbahal when we left. But Montfort School turned out to be such a wonderful school. And we came back again, and straight away 12 years we were in Kansbahal.
Great.
And what can I say about Kansbahal? It has been like a dream come true place with ideal settings, friends and schooling. Everything was perfect. We settled down very fast and took part in it. We became so involved in Kansbahal. There were many good happenings, bad happenings, tragic happenings, but we sort of went through everything, and finally I also joined school. So it was a very fulfilling and satisfying stay of totally almost 16 years.
Great.
Yes, Baljit.
Very few people know that the hill in Kansbal is known as Laimora Hills, and
Yes.
and good thing is that you, as you entered in Kansbal, you found the birds also there. I mean, you were apprehensive about birds होंगे कि नहीं होंगे वहाँ पर.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we found lots of birds. Yes.
Those birds are still there. I mean, you have left, but the birds are still there, auntie.
Yes, I know, I know.
And now,
Yes.
when I joined Utpal English Primary School, you were also there. I saw you with all grace and with all elegance. Now, auntie, tell me something about Utpal English Primary School, because so many students in Kanspal would like to hear from you, your students now.
Yes, I
your
know.
day. Yes, auntie.
I feel so proud having taught. There's so many students, whomever we come across. My daughter Malini's friends and Ritu's friends, all are doing so well in their lives. And it makes me feel very happy and proud to have having taught these students. Actually, I had no idea that I would be teaching. When we were in Kansmahal, once Ganga, that is Mrs. V. Vishwanathan, told me that there is a vacancy in school, why don't you join? So immediately I told her I don't have a B.Ed, so I can't teach. I've never taught.
Okay.
So then she didn't say anything, and when casually at home I was talking to my husband, I mentioned. He immediately said, nothing doing, you're joining, go. You will learn as you teach. I said, I have no B.Ed. He said, doesn't matter. You will learn as you teach. Go right now and talk to Mrs. Ganga. And next day he brought me proper paper and envelope from the office stationery and made me, so then I wrote out the application, sent it through Ganga. Sister Damien was the principal at that time.
Right, Sister Damien.
And she called me for an interview, and part of the interview was teaching in a class. In class 3, where I was to start teaching English.
Okay.
So there used to be 2 sections in class 3. So all I requested Sister Damien was that Ritu was studying in class 3 at that time. So I said, please don't put me in the section where my daughter is. We might just start laughing, looking at each other.
Okay.
So thankfully she put me in another section.
Other section.
And she herself sat at the back of the class and was there throughout my teaching. So obviously I passed in her estimation, and I was taken in, and that's how my UEPS days began. They were some of the happiest while staying in Kanspal, and the best experience of teaching because I have taught for almost more than 20 years. But in no other school I had this, fantastic rapport with the staff and with the children, the affection and respect that they gave to teachers is something which other schools should learn. It was fantastic.
Yes.
So my days were very happy. We had difficult students, naughty students.
I remember.
We have excellent students. You will know.
I remember few of them.
While teaching. Few of them, yes. I remember especially all the functions that we used to have, the Teachers' Day functions, and for the entire colony, the annual function, annual sports day, how much we used to work for it and gave our best, and the children, not to be done away with, they gave their best, and the performances with the little resources that we had, I feel now they were excellent.
Excellent. Yes.
Sisters used to take us for trips also outside. One fantastic trip we had gone to Puri. I don't think you were there. Were you there?
No. I was there in Calcutta trip, not Puri trip.
Acha, you were there for the Calcutta trip. I was not there at that time.
Okay.
But the Puri trip was excellent. There were 10 teachers and 50 children. Each teacher was assigned 5 students.
Yes.
And I happened to have Dominic Lewis in my group.
Oh,
He
yes,
was
yes.
so naughty. He was so naughty. But then I always held on to his hand tightly. And we had a wonderful trip. And the days of UEPS, all the sisters, Sister Celine, Sister Damien, Sister Anamma, Sister Karuna,
Yes.
Sister Anita, and the teachers, Ganga, of course, Mrs. Srivastav, Mrs. Kujur,
Of course.
Achamma, Mrs. Sandhu, then Vani Suresh,
One is Suresh, yes.
Mrs. Leeta Mohanty. We used
Yes,
to
ma'am.
all sit at the same table, yes.
Yes, yes.
And then Achamma and the later, of course, you all younger people, Chitra, Savita, and Rita Chatterjee.
Yes.
There's so many others, Surinder.
Surinder.
Yes, so many. All of us had such a wonderful rapport and congenial atmosphere, and used to read out howlers from the children's copies and enjoyed.
You enjoyed
We
the
had a
stuff.
very good time.
Yes.
Very good time. Yes, Baljit. I hope I have answered your
Yes, yes, yes.
ULPS